Hello again, everyone. This is Joe Henches with Beyond the Chart, your source for exceptional video analysis of stocks, ETFs, and indices so you can become a better trader. All right, today we're going to look at the market action of the last 2 days. So we're going to look at the indices like we normally do, but because it's Wednesday, we're also going to look at Germany, China, India, and then our indicators. I think I mentioned that. And then we're going to look at 5 Chinese stocks: Alibaba, Qihoo 360, CTRP, VipShop, Youku, Tudou, and then 2 other trade ideas that were entered today on SolarCity and Valero. Okay, so let's talk about the Dow. The Dow was down 3.38 points today. So what kind of candlestick bar are we seeing here? It's a doji bar. So kind of a pause, indecision. But here's the other thing that's going on. This is the narrowest range of the last 7 days. So it's an NR, what I call an NR7 day. It's actually the narrowest range since back here on June 23rd, 15 trading days. It's the narrowest trading range of the last 15 days. So the market's getting compressed. So you notice how you get this big volatility, a lot of volatility. You push up, you get a little closer, more compressed, more compressed, more compressed. Okay. And so compression then leads to expansion. So it's going to be interesting to see, do we get a pullback down and continue this? Remember, right now we are still seeing, lower lows. This is not a higher high yet in this thing. So the trend is still down, at least on the short and intermediate term basis here. Let's take a look at the S&P 500. That's even clearer here in terms of the bars. Actually, this is where I measured that. So don't quote me on the Dow Industrials, but this on the S&P 500, the SPX is the narrowest range day of the last 15 days. Now, let's see. Let me go back to the Dow. Something else I was going to point out. Maybe not on here. Thought I did it here on the... Oh, I know where I did it. Let's take a look at the Nasdaq. All right, so the Nasdaq pulled up in here, and I had drawn this support line across here. This is a potential head and shoulders. That's why I've got a question mark here, because it is pulling back up to where the same height of the left shoulder over here. This is kind of a funky looking head, but it still is the distance, the activity between the 2 support points. So this is a potential, and especially after breaking a major trend line here. So we'll see if that's what develops, but that's what I'm on the alert for anyway. New York Composite, similar type thing. Now, the New York Composite neckline in here is kind of trending down a little bit, so it's a little bit weak. So the question I've got is this really going to pull back up in here? Because I remember on the weekend I mentioned, pretty sure it was Monday night or Saturday, I mentioned about this gap. All right, well, we came back right up yesterday and closed that gap. We got within a couple of points, and it's close enough to say that it's closed in my book. And so now we pull back down a little bit, kind of a pause. It's not quite an inside day. So again, we'll see what we get here in the next couple of days. Russell 2000, the picture is a little muckier here. And honestly, you got to say the Russell 2000, push to a new high, pull back, push to a higher high, pull back. So right now, the Russell 2000 is still trending up. Okay, the next thing I want to take a look at is the German DAX. So let's see what's going on with the DAX. Now, the DAX looks like over the last 3 days that it pushed up out of this downward trending channel. But, small bars, 2 out of the 3 are doji type bars. And this has not achieved a higher high than this high here as of today. So that's what I'm still watching. The trend is still down, but it looks like it's trying to push out of the channel. The next one we'll take a look at is, let's go to India. And India also looks like it's broken out of a channel, and it looks like it did it back here on June 22nd. I haven't looked at India in a couple of weeks. But I'm going to call this as an intermediate 4 complete, and that we are pushing up out of this. We'll see if we can get 5 waves, see if this can continue to push up in a 5th intermediate wave here on the Indian Nifty 50. So right now I'm counting this as 1, 2, and then 1, 2, counting the waves within a third minor wave pushing up higher. I expect it to exceed the previous high up here that was achieved on March 4th. The next one we'll take a look at is Shanghai, which I think I just had it right here, Shanghai Composite. Okay, so everybody's talking about, everybody's the big picture, comparing this to 1929 and all that good stuff right now. Although the setup up top here was not like 1929 in terms of what it's doing, or the 1987 crash for that matter. You know, they both had a peak, came down, short rally, then broke down through. And that's not what set up in here. So what I'm looking at is this kind of close after this pullback, and you get a little bit above the 10, then you close back down below it, breaking the lows here. This looks kind of negative to me. I'm looking for a continuation to continue down, and I wouldn't be surprised to see that. Now, it hasn't. Let me see what it's rallied. I say rallied. I'm a little hoarse here today. Apologize for that. Let's take it from right up in here. Retracement is the word I'm looking for. So it hasn't even retraced 38% yet. So we'll see whether we get this continuation like I'm expecting, or whether something else develops and it pulls back even further. But right now, fairly shallow retracement at this point. Let's see. The next thing, let's take a look at our indicators for the U.S. market. Start off with the short-term trading index. Okay, so the trend was 1.26 today, and the 10-day is 1.15, the blue line, and so it's right smack in the middle. The VIX isn't showing us anything new as far as I could tell. Where is it? Here we go. And again, had the big pullback of the last 3 days. This collapse that occurred on the 13th on Monday. So we're down just fractionally here today. Of course, the market was basically kind of unchanged with the pause type bar. High-low. Okay, the high-low indicator pullback, it is +3. So there were 3 more new highs today, 52-week new highs than new lows. So basically totally in the neutral zone. Okay, one other indicator I want to take a look at here is, while I'm thinking of it, come back to New York Composite and see if the McClellan Oscillator has updated. No, it really hasn't changed. I'm not sure if that's a final reading on the McClellan Oscillator, but that is definitely overbought if it stays there, and that is the most overbought it's been since November. So got there pretty quick, but it's done it before. And it's just, you just never know. Here's the October, the big move on to October, and here's a move in August. Well, it didn't stay up there very long in August either. So all we know is we're now in overbought territory. So, I think short term the market could be vulnerable. Okay, now the one thing I want to, we talked about the high-low index, but I want to show you something on the new highs, which is why I think this market is really running out of steam. This is from 2009, okay? So here's 2009 at the bottom. As you can see, there wasn't very many 52-week new highs being made. Then all of a sudden, we get this blast off, and here's the peak in momentum. And this is like in April of 2010, right before the flash crash, okay? So here's the first major peak in momentum. Then all of a sudden, back in May of 2013, another peak in momentum. And then the new highs have been declining ever since from that. So I see 2 major peaks in momentum and declining new highs in terms of 52-week new highs. This, to me, is a market that's running out of steam. And it's, continuing to do that. And so this is just a picture of that. So wanted to share that with you. As we're always looking at the new highs minus new lows, wanted to take a picture of the actual new highs. And I apologize, I should have had the title up in here, and I didn't. But again, this is 52-week new highs. Well, I'll tell you what. Wow, there magically it appeared now. The magic of pausing the video while you're recording it. Okay, all right, let's move. Oh, I wanted to take a look at gold and oil today. So let's look at GLD, which is the Spider Gold shares. All right, so intraday, this low today, now granted it was down, but the intraday low took out the low of March 17th and actually slightly broke this low of November 5th. So to me, this is confirming a trend down that wants to continue. And by the way, that intraday low is the lowest in over 5 years. So if you go back and take a look at this picture, you got to go all the way back over to here in 2010 to get that reading that we just got today on terms of a low. So I am looking for this to continue down. We'll see if we get that momentum. It sure acts like that's what it wants to do right now. And oil, U.S. oil is the ETF for this. Oil was down today, continuing to push down. Not a big dramatic move, but definitely the lowest close on this of the last, what, 2, 4, 6, well, lowest close since all of this. Okay, so if you have to go back here, it's the lowest close since back over here on March 31st. So in several months, what, 1, 2, 3, 3.5 months. Okay, that's it for gold, silver, indicators. Now let's take a look at Alibaba. I'm going to look at our stocks here tonight. Alibaba Group. Okay, I had this as a trade idea today. I am looking for this to develop down, to roll over. You know, this is a specific setup that I have. We'll see whether or not it plays out. The fact that this has got a lower low than here, I am thinking, and this was a 3-wave counter trend, I'm thinking that the wave structure and the momentum is still down, and therefore I am looking for this to resume to the downside. We'll see what happens. The caveat is the Shanghai Composite and that kind of activity. Is it going to continue to roll over? And right now I'm just going to go with what I'm seeing in the stock. Qihoo 360. Same kind of thing happened here, but Qihoo is a little bit messier to me. You know, this, I thought that this was completing very big corrective action, wave action here. I thought this was completing it, but this 3-wave again is corrective. We could be getting a very complex combination corrective wave going on, and it wouldn't surprise me given what's happening with the Chinese market. This could be another X, okay, another 3-wave X, and then we get another big corrective wave down. Usually you never get more than 2 of these X's kind of thing when they appear. So that's what I'm suspicious of right now. And right now it does look like it's starting to roll over. We'll see if that's what we get. But again, on the trade ideas, I don't have a trade idea on this. We didn't enter any puts on this one. But all of the details on any trade ideas are on the Trade Ideas webpage. You just need to be a subscriber to get access, first name and email, and you're good to go. And it gives you the free PDF I've got for you too, which is a peek inside my toolbox. So let's take a look at CTRP next. And CTRP, this one I've got a bullish count on just because that's the way it's acting. And right now we'll see it's doing this little rollover action at the same time, but it's a little more bullish than what I'm seeing. Well, it's a lot more bullish than what I'm seeing in Alibaba. And I know there's some merger and discussion type talk with CTRP, but I haven't been following it closely in terms of the news on these stocks. I follow 35, 36 stocks in detail, and there's no way I'm going to be following the in-depth, intricate news of what's happening with each one. All the news is reflected in the pricing of the chart. So this is all I really need to know. And right now, I'm still seeing a bullish trend up here on CTRP. So we'll see how that materializes. The next one is VipShop. And let's see, VipShop, here we go. Now VipShop, see how we had this very narrow rising wedge and it broke down out of it. And when you break out of wedges, this is what's supposed to happen in terms of fairly rapid move down, and it goes to the bottom of the wedge. Well, it did that in about 10 weeks, 9 to 10 weeks. And it actually went further than here, went all the way down here to the bottom of, really, I mean, this point. You could almost call this the bottom of the wedge, because that's where the picture of it ends down here, and that's where it got. Now, I think this is resuming the downtrend again. Now, we did it once. Are we going to do it a second time? You see how you got this little counter trend move back up, and then you got this close right here below the 10, and then boom, comes right on down. We'll see whether we get that and at least test the low or more. Now, the other thing on this picture is it's broken this trend line from last October. So you've got, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9-month trend line that's been broken. 8 to 9 month trend line. Okay, the last Chinese stock we're going to look at tonight is Youku Tudou, and it's in a pretty solid downtrend. And again, what I'm calling a little bit of caveat on this one, this looks like this is the lowest point on Youku Tudou. This looked like a 5-wave impulse move to me, so I called it the first intermediate wave up. But I would have liked to have seen it take out this point here. So actually, you still got a downtrend going on. I mean, you haven't taken it. You don't have a higher high on even on a weekly basis if you turned this into a weekly chart. So right now, I'm sticking with this, but we'll have to watch the wave count and what happens here. And we definitely have the intermediate, short-term. Intermediate is just starting to turn down, but we do have the long-term 55s above the 233. Okay, so we'll see what develops here on Youku Tudou. And then two other trade ideas I got into today, and that was SolarCity. And again, we entered here near the close, right before the close on this. Initially, I was thinking that this was maybe going to go and head upwards, but right now it's telling me it doesn't want to. Right now it's telling me it still is pushing down, and we'll see if we get that continuation from this move today and the way it closed. It closed below the last 2 days trading range too. So that's pretty interesting. And then the last one, Valero, got in at the opening. Was watching for it on a setup from yesterday, and got the entry this morning first thing. And so we're in this with puts. Also had this big, nice reversal bar down here, and then nice continuation off of that. And this was, again, a specific setup that I had on Valero. So we'll see if we can't get a little bit of movement on this one and a nice trade. All right, so that's it for tonight. I was continuing to watch Facebook, but nothing's happened with Facebook there in terms of the trade idea. We're going to give it one more day to materialize, but that's it for the stocks tonight, and we'll see. I'm checking the news. Let me see here. Let me refresh Bloomberg. And I am not seeing any update on Greece. They're meeting right now. It's past midnight. It's going on 1 o'clock in the morning in Athens. And still not seeing any headlines as to whether they are agreeing to the what Tsipras has agreed to, their prime minister agreed to, or not. So the austerity package from the lenders. So that's probably going to be the big news, and how China does tonight. So, all right, we'll be back. What was I going to mention? If you're watching this anywhere else besides my website, head over to the website, check out the posts, and if you're not a subscriber, subscribe. As I mentioned before, it's easy to do. First name and email, and you'll be good to go. And I hope you found this video was helpful. If you did, please hit the like button. And I will be back on Saturday with the weekend update, and probably out on Thursday and Friday with some individual stock chart analysis also. So look for that. All right, this has been Joe. Have a great Thursday, Friday, everyone.